All right, guys, you guys man here, the man with the plan, the man with the knowledge, and the man with the wrestling news, and of course, WWE Battleground pay-per-view is all said and done. The show was somewhat predictable, but they pull a couple surprises out of the hat, and I'm just gonna talk about the matches on the main card, and we'll go from there. We started off with the tag team titles championship, the USOS, the champions, against the Wyatt family, uh, Harper and Rowan. It's the best 2 out of 3 falls match, and I'll be honest with you, this match opened the show, and it was a phenomenal match. Now I predicted that Harper and Rowan were going to win this match, and I felt that all the way throughout. They did get the first pinfall, and this match was pretty brutal. I mean, Harper and Rowan, they're two big guys, and they really took it to the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. But Jimmy and Jay, battled back and fought hard, and they ended up getting the second pinfall, and so we were evened up at one apiece. And right then and there, I was thinking, okay, now it's time for Harper and Rowan to end this and become the new WWE Tag Team title holders. And this last fall was like totally brutal. I mean, they were beating the stuffings out of each other, and I was totally shocked when the pin was on the Wyatts. I was totally shocked. I did not think the Usos were going to retain here at Battleground. Um, and just one of the things being the reason is they have faced each other so many times, and the Usos have retained the title. So I thought, well, okay, here on the pay-per-view, this is where it ends. But it was a big surprise to me that the Usos ended up retaining the tag team titles. I would have been happy either way, but all in all, I'd have to say anybody that saw this match live really saw a darn good match. It was amazing. Up next, we had AJ Lee, the Divas champion, uh, facing her challenger Paige. And it's sort of funny too because I was listening to JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry the King Lawler, and they brought up Moolah a lot, being the longest reigning women's champion, and that is true. Moolah is the longest reigning women's champion when they consider that category for the WWE, but AJ Lee is the longest reigning Divas champion uh, for the promotion of WWE. And they brought that up, and they were talking about Moolah a lot in a number of occasions. They were also, JBL was talking about the fact that he cannot believe that AJ and Paige can be friends, and Michael Cole goes, well, they're frenemies, which AJ and Paige refer to each other. And it was a pretty good match. It wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. I thought basically that Paige was going to come out on top of this match because I honestly do believe they're going to swap belts back and forth here down the road. Um, Paige gave AJ her finisher. AJ, pretty much got out of that. And it was just a pretty good match, although I thought it was a little bit too short. And AJ did retain, so I was happy there. Either way, the result came out, I would have been pleased because I do like both AJ Lee and Paige, but I am a bigger AJ Lee fan. So, moving on. Rusev and Jack Swagger. Now, when Lana came out and she mentioned about the Malaysian plane being shot down, trying to blame it on the United States, when it's clearly, reported on the news that it was a Ukrainian missile that shot down this Malaysian plane, I was just totally shocked. Now, I really thought Vince would have nixed this. I think Vince ought to nix the whole Russian Vladimir Putin thing because it's a political thing, and I think these political things can escalate into something much bigger on the home front with all of us. And people don't realize how much trouble that this really can cause. you can cause a lot of fights, a lot of dissension, rioting, and whatnot. So I'm really totally surprised that Vince didn't put a stop to this, unless Lana just went off on her own and did this or not. Because if she did it and she wasn't supposed to, there will be repercussions there. But anyway, Rusev and Swagger was a darn good match. And I was watching Chair Shot Reality, and they said the best thing that could happen would be there would be a count out, and that nobody would be the rightful winner. Nobody would get the pin on each other, and they hit it right on the nose. You know, there was a count out. Swagger was counted out. Rusev did win this match, but with all said and done, Jack Swagger really gave it to Rusev. It showed that Rusev can be vulnerable, but in the long run, the strong man ended up really taking out Jack Swagger to the point where Swagger was almost in unconsciousness. So, but a very, very, very good match in my eyes. Now, here's a match that sort of threw me off. Bray Wyatt against Chris Jericho. A good match. They gave it a lot of time. Um, you sort of knew that Jericho was going to give it to Bray Wyatt. And but in the meantime, knowing that, everybody's thinking, well, Jericho's here. He's going to be putting Bray Wyatt over because Bray Wyatt, lost 2 out of 3 matches to John Cena in their pay-per-views, and they're pushing Bray Wyatt. So Jericho's back to put over Wyatt in a very, very, very good match with a lot of time. I was totally shocked. Bray Wyatt ended up beating the stuffings out of Chris Jericho, but losing the match. I was totally, totally surprised Jericho coming out on top of this match. To me, it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless they're going to have a rematch at SummerSlam, where Bray Wyatt will come out on top there because it is the biggest pay-per-view of the summer. I'm not sure. I mean, I think if Wyatt beat Jericho at Battleground, maybe there would have been no need for them to have a rematch at SummerSlam. But what difference does it really make? Because now that Jericho has defeated Bray Wyatt, I still think it's going to move on. I don't think it's over for Bray Wyatt and Chris Jericho. I do think they're going to have a rematch at SummerSlam. But again, this match, which I thought was somewhat predictable, figuring that the push of Bray Wyatt, he was going to come out on top, but he didn't. Chris Jericho ended up defeating him. So very big surprise there. Then we get to the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental title. It was good to see Wade Barrett there. Not a bad Battle Royal. When you have so many men in the ring, you sort of lose track who's there and who's not. Obviously, you see who gets thrown over the top rope, so right then and there that person's eliminated. And when it came down to Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus, we all forgot about The Miz, that he was not in the ring. He didn't get thrown out. And I totally forgot about The Miz. Maybe a lot of other people didn't. I know JBL claimed it. He didn't forget, but I don't believe that. I think JBL's full of shit, to be honest with you. But anyway, when Sheamus went and hit the floor and Ziggler was in the ring, I'm going, oh, great. I was really pleased to see Dolph Ziggler end up becoming the champion. But then out of nowhere, here comes The Miz. Ziggler's out in no time. Miz becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. So, what do I think about The Miz being the champion? Well, he just gets back in the WWE after being gone. And this is one of the biggest things that most wrestling promotions do when someone leaves and they come back. Usually somewhere, somehow, they end up getting a belt. I was surprised. I honestly picked Sheamus to win because I thought they were going to unify the US and IC titles. But like I said, when I saw Dolph Ziggler in the ring all by himself for that split second, I was very, very pleased because I think Ziggler needs to get that big push, which he really is deserving of. But of course, Miz ended up coming in the ring and throwing Ziggler over to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Moving on to the Fatal 4-Way. Now, the tag team title match, I thought was a phenomenal match. I actually thought that tag team title match was the best match of the night. But without discounting this fatal four-way match, which over the weekend there was a lot of rumors, there was a lot of news on the dirt sheets. Everybody's throwing up new ideas that the WWE is going to do. I mean, I know Sean's View had uh, put up some videos about some changes made. I had seen those same changes that Sean did, and I honestly thought going into the Fatal Four Way, John Cena was not going to come out as champion. I honestly thought it was going to be Roman Reigns. And a lot of people are saying it's too soon for Roman Reigns. I don't think so. Because when do you draw the line saying it's too soon? I mean, everybody wants new champions. And, you know, I saw no problem when Roman Reigns coming out on top of this fatal four way. And I'll be honest with you, till the very end, I thought it was going to be Roman Reigns. There was a split second I thought maybe um, Randy Orton might get it, but it wasn't to be. And I was waiting. I honestly thought because they were in Tampa and tonight on Raw, Brock Lesnar will be on Raw. I figured, well, Lesnar's probably in Florida. He'll probably make an appearance and maybe make an impact in the outcome of the match. And it wasn't to be. John Cena ended up getting the pin and retaining the WWE World Heavyweight title, which I don't have a problem with. But uh, when it was all said and done, it was predictable from the reports we heard earlier. Now, my biggest disappointment of the night was not having Seth Rollins wrestle Dean Ambrose. Yeah, they had uh, a battle outside the ring, but it was not an official match. I don't know why the WWE pulled the strings on this and did not have him wrestle unless somebody had an injury. But the way they were going after each other, I could see no injury with either one of them. And with that match being taken off the card, I honestly thought that maybe Seth Rollins was planning on cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase contract, but that wasn't to be either. So I think it was a big disappointment for the fans that were there live at the show. I know some people that were there, and because they were looking forward to seeing Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, which would have been a phenomenal match. But my thoughts are maybe we'll see Ambrose and Rollins in a match tonight here on Raw. So those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions about Battleground pay-per-view. I thought it was like a pre-pay-per-view show to lead up into SummerSlam, but it wasn't a bad show. It was a pretty good show. I mean, I was very pleased with it. Like I said, with Jericho winning and the Usos retaining, those were a bit of a surprise for me. Cena retaining was somewhat of a surprise, but I knew in the back of my mind, when the WWE does set something up, they usually don't change it. And even though there was a lot of rumors going around on the dirt sheets on the internet, usually those are put out there just to throw us off. And WWE does go according to plan, which they did. So this is the Iceman on this Monday. Peace out, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the WWE Battleground pay-per-view as I did, and we'll see y'all next time.